Ready? 5 seconds. Mr. Speaker, I have already submitted in my speeches on the general discussion that the grievances of the staff are mounting and there is growing discontent. I have to add that the staff are not well treated. The concessions which were enjoyed by them during the last 5 years are being withdrawn by the railway administration one after the other. I can quote certain instances. With regard to pass facilities, I can say that the quantum of passes already issued are now reduced. For instance, persons who were drawing rupees 300 on or before 3rd May 1968 are considered to have qualified for second class passes, whereas those who are getting that pay after that day are disqualified for second class passes. With regard to the privilege ticket orders, there is curtailment. Another factor is the retired railway employees were getting passes and that is now being reduced to the minimum. Only those who have put in 30 years service are given one set of passes in 5 years with regard to class 4 staff. So also with regard to class 3, the concessions they were previously enjoying are being curtailed. With regard to the workshop or loco shed men who are entitled to take half a day off previously, that right has now been deprived and the railway board have said that even if these men take half a day's leave, that will be treated as equal to 1 day's leave. This is also a curtailment of their rights. With regard to gratuity, there is a new innovation made now. Even if a railway servant retires after putting in 30 years of service, his gratuity may be proportionately reduced according to the whims and fancies of the administration by seeing his service record. This is a very wrong thing, and is it a new attack on the railwaymen? The railwaymen enjoyed medical facilities not only for themselves but also for their wives and children, and even their dependents got the facilities. Now the right of medical treatment in respect of the dependents is denied, and I do not know the reason for it. I do not understand the difference between matriculation and non-matriculation qualification in the case of the running staff. They do the same work, but why should there be differences in the pay? A driver who has passed matriculation gets rupees 20 more. Last year, when I raised this question, the railway minister said that knowledge of Hindi or other vernacular is to be encouraged. In spite of that assurance, the matriculation qualification is still insisted upon, for which there is no justification given. With regard to the Payment of Wages Act, the Railway Board refuses to accept certain sections of the Act. Whenever a railway servant is suspended on reinstatement, he is given full pay for the period of suspension. In fact, there was the judgment of the Bombay High Court. Any curtailment of full pay during the period of suspension is ultra vires and is against the Payment of Wages Act. There is a specific case in which this judgment has been given, and in spite of that, the railway board refuses to give full pay for the period of suspension. I have brought many such cases to the notice of the railway board. Not only that, but I can also quote an instance with regard to the curtailment of annual increments. For imposing punishment, annual increments are cut, and this is quite in violation of the Payment of Wages Act. The Railway Board must also consider this point. A third violation is reduction to a lower scale. I can quote the instance of an instructor who was reduced to the station master's category. He was getting a basic pay of rupees 1000, and as a punishment it has been reduced to rupees 700. I may in this connection bring to his notice the case of one Mr. M. Thomas, an instructor in the transportation school, whose pay was reduced from rupees 1000 rupees 700 as a punishment. The rule which is quoted is an old rule which obtained in 1941 before the railways were taken over from the company and before the new rules came into force. Such reductions of salaries are also a violation of the express provisions of the Payment of Wages Act. Apart from this, there are several instances of withdrawal of concessions and major curtailment of the rights of the railway staff. Previously, the loco sheds were governed by the Factories Act. If the staff work after 5 o'clock in the evening when routine working hours are over, they are entitled to an overtime allowance, and the staff in these sheds were getting this allowance. Now, very cleverly, the loco sheds have been removed from the operation of the Factories Act. This real grievance of the staff was brought to the notice of the railway minister during the course of the debate. Mr. Speaker, I have already submitted in my speeches on the general discussion that the grievances of the staff are mounting and there is growing discount. I have to add that the staff are not well treated. The concessions which were enjoyed by them during the last 5 years are being withdrawn by the railway administration one after the other. I can quote certain instances. With regard to pass facilities, I can say that the quantum of passes already issued are now reduced. For instance, persons who were drawing rupees 300 on or before 3rd May 1968 are considered to have qualified for second class passes, whereas those who are getting that pay after that day are disqualified for second class passes. With regard to the privilege ticket orders, there is curtailment. Another factor is the retired railway employees were getting passes. Stop.